that time again.
Yeah. Yeah. Banging.
How are
What
you
up, good
doing?
brother? I'm good, my lord. How's everything, man?
Yo, we just maintaining and trying to grow and just trying to make moves. I'm always excited about this, man. This is episode 3, constant elevation with Brother Jay. I mean, I get up for this. I was telling my girl like why is it not 8 o'clock yet? Like we need to like set this off, man. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. He's always make me happy. These are important for me, and always grateful for the opportunity to build, man. So
Yeah, man. It's been good conversation, man. It's
of
been
course,
solid, man. Good.
yeah, it's
People
been
getting
great.
back.
Yeah, so
Yeah, man.
it's I'm very excited. Um, so yeah, like the thing that I wanted to point out too is like to me it would seem like we just did the last one. So like I always tell people like time keeps moving, man. Like it's going by. Like we were just talking about this bullshit ass election and we were just talking about fuck 2020 and everything. It's like we're in mid-March, about to start the clocks again or whatever. Like it's moving. So I tell everybody, like, go do what you're gonna do and do it now. Like do it, because shit
Yeah.
is not promised, man. Like
That's real. That's real,
and we'll
man.
be
We're trying
old
to
and dead
erase it.
before we know it.
Word up, bro. Word up, man.
So yeah,
It's that time to do or die, my lord. Real deal.
facts.
Real deal.
So this is gonna be a good one. Why don't you share what the topic is? And you
All
brother
right. So,
picked this one, and this is really excited about this particular topic.
yeah, I wanted to build on some steps that veteran legend artists, I mean, even people who have been writing for years and never had the opportunity to step into the game, I wanted them to, see some steps that they can practice or ask themselves more so to really see what they have to contribute to the game. You know what I'm saying? So I created some questions and whatnot that we can discuss and build as I'm going down, so people, so we can elaborate so people can have a full understanding, because the game is reset. Nobody's a star right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The proper content is king right now, and there's a wide open door for people. And the thing is, having conversations like this avoid people from, cloning, the shit that we don't like. When people clone and act other than what they're supposed to be. I think this conversation will kind of pull that off, and they can really see if they're supposed to be in the game or not. It's not for everybody, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you can record on your phone or your watch or whatever, it's not for everybody. And not that expression is not for everybody, but playing this game is not for everybody. The industry is a serious game. You can play ball in the park, but when you go to the pros, it's a different setup. So
Exactly. Perfect example. I was playing football. Like I used to be super nice at football in the street, but I'm not a big dude. So I played soccer growing up. It's my freshman year of high school. I wanted to be cool, so I switched to play football and got my ass rocked like multiple times. It was like, okay, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, it ain't for everybody. And you made a good point, yo. Planet Asia said to me, he was like, yo, remember when rappers used to be like superheroes? He said, I really thought Big Daddy Kane lived like up in a castle somewhere. Like it was like special that if you rap, now it's like everybody rap. You know what I'm saying?
Word. So they just take it for granted. People just watch and feel like I can do that better or whatever. But, it's a lot of sacrifice with this game. So, in this time of reset, these are like questions that they can reflect on or, and we're going to discuss, where they can really angle off it. Am I playing myself or is it really meant for me to step into this game and really deal,
Right. And one thing before we get into that I wanted to talk about, excuse me, was age.
Yes.
Age seems like to be the only thing in rap where like it works to your disadvantage the older you are. Like most other genres, some of the nicest cats, like if you look at jazz, like in certain other areas and things, they get more respect as they get older. they often perfect their craft, and some of the best shows are when they're when some of these guys are and women are older, like doing their thing. Some of these artists, it's like in hip hop, it's like a death knell. Like once you hit 30 or 40, I never really understood that, because this isn't sports. Like, as long as you got your mental faculties and you still love the game, then it shouldn't really. If anything, you should get better. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So,
exactly. It's the way media molds it, man. You know, they make it like it's an expiration date. You know, you want to get the veterans out so you can fool the young heads and into the traps you fooled us in back in the days. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that creates a gap. Right. You know, that's why this conversation had to come about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to do it, know it for real. And, you know, it should be a solid investment for yourself. And no one can tell you to pull out of your investment like it's time for you to retire. If you're a boss, you tell yourself when it's time to retire. You know what I'm saying? And you tell you know, and you set it up so you can continue to evolve. So I just think there's areas that people are not facing right now.
Word.
You know, and we're going to do that.
Yeah, let's get into it. Like, set it off. What you have
All right,
in mind?
so cool. All right, so first, we want to deal with identity.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and what I want, you know, I want everybody that's here in this circle to just basically picture the question upon yourself as an artist. You're stepping into the game, or you're a veteran more so, or a legend, and you're coming to, you know, wanting to put new material out. So the first question you ask yourself is, who are you? You know what I'm saying? And what is your resume? You know, if you were a veteran artist back in the days, were you a one-hit wonder? Were you a game changer? You know, these are things that you have to ask yourself, because, you know, some people put out one record and feel they got a lot of hype and some touring time and feel that they're legend. And that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Right. Some people get into, you know, some legends that are in the game were really game changers, changing people's style. You mentioned Big Daddy Kane. He changed people's rap cadence. You know what I'm saying? He changed his approach. There's a lot of artists at that time spilling the math into the game. So the first question for them to ask themselves is, you know, look in the mirror and say, who am I? You know, what was my contribution to the game? What was my resume for real? Instead of fooling yourself. All right. Second question you're going to ask yourself is, am I a star in my own head? You know, some people will sit in their lab and feel like, I'm better than 50. I'm better than Eminem. I'm better than whatever. You know, I would say to them, don't do that. You know, you can't be a star in your head. You gotta make material that game changes or takes the game to a next level. If you were a boom bap artist in the 90s and you're trying to come out now, it has to be advanced boom bap. It has to be a better production. So, you know, are you a star in your own head? You have to ask yourself that question honestly. All right. And then the next question would be, what is the goal of what you're trying to offer? If you're trying to put out a record in 2021, what is the goal of the record? You want to make money as a hustle? You want to preserve the game and take it higher? Ask yourself these questions. You feel me? Ask yourself, what is the goal of my project? Truly address your ego. If you really can look in the mirror and say, yo, man, I want to be bigger than Michael Jackson. Be honest with yourself, and that is now your path. But if you try to play, yo, I'm true to the culture. I hear a lot of people now saying, I'm true to the culture. I'm true to the culture. And you really just want to make money. Okay?
Stop for a second. That annoys the fuck out of me, because let's hold on for a second. Because listen, man, people know what words are become catchphrases and what words will, you know, gain attention. And that phrase right now is catchy, right? It's catchy to be like, you know, everything. It's catchy to be underground now. It's catchy to kind of go back to, you know, it's like, all right, cool. But it's like, yeah, like I hear people send me trash ass music all the time. and say
right.
for the culture. That's like when ghetto chicks curse you out and then say have a blessed day after. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, that's not for the culture. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're spitting nonsense over nonsense. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. You know, so that I just had to stop you there because that's
but I want us to elaborate as we go, and I want you to stop me where you feel your spirit to move forward. You know, it's information for our audience, but it's also topics of discussion for us.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because that's a serious thing. You know, that culture thing bothers me too. You know what I'm saying? You know, what is the culture if it's not the rehearsal and the practice and the niceness that we look for when a record is coming out? You know, just to blab words and put them out over whatever kind of beat. That's not what hip hop is. You know, you got to respect the craft at some point. So, you know, that's what my thing is. What is the goal? You know what I'm saying? And then what do you have to offer? You know what I'm saying? You coming into the game, like you mentioned earlier, people were superheroes. You know, if I'm coming to the Justice League and I'm Aquaman, nigga, I can make the ocean follow me and do whatever, save the planet and shit. You know your lane. So it's like, you know, you ask yourself as an artist, you know, what do I have to offer? My heat vision and my flight, you know what I'm saying? Am I the chopper of the crew? You know, whatever it is, right. You got to create your identity first. If you don't come in this game and understand your identity, your contribution, your limitations, you know what I'm saying? If I'm a singer, I don't, you know, and I just got good harmony. I don't try to sing a Luther Vandross song, you know. So a person has to realize, like, I'm not a good front man. I'm a good support man. You know what I'm saying? I may need to build a crew instead of trying to do a solo project. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
Everybody's on the solo. There was a time where it was about crews. And now it's like one man cats, you know, and one man situations trying to be a one man army. Everybody doesn't have that power, my lord.
Right.
You know?
And you've seen this when certain groups break up and you've seen certain artists shine on their own and you've seen certain artists fizzle. And you know what I mean? Because you can tell, like, oh, he sounds better when he was with so-and-so. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. He fits more. I can hear him every third joint. You know, like, I can't fuck with that, whatever, let's say, whiny, that voice. I like it, but I can't hear it for, like, a 12 tracks of liking it. So there's certain things. But here's what I was going to say, man. Like, you know, I think it takes two things there. Because what you're talking about requires a lot of deep introspection, which sometimes our culture does not promote, our hip hop culture, even ourselves, and it requires a lot of humility to look at oneself like that and be honest about these questions when we might want to have a different answer in our head. And I think it also requires us then to surround ourselves with people that will check us and keep us on the straight and narrow. You know what I'm saying? Because what you just said makes perfect sense, but I'm like, man, who the fuck does that though? Like, and for me, that's part of the problem though. But so, you know.
Yeah, because think about it, in hip hop right now, every time artists want to come together to form a crew, they call it a super group or whatever. But back in the days, it was just, it would have been like the new Run DMC or the new Furious 5 or whatever the case may be. But now it's like everybody's trying to do, yo, I can do it myself. And they might have had a better leg with another two men on a crew and a DJ or a producer or whatever, you know, and we're going to go into that because there's parts of where we're talking about team, having team, different things, building a team. The next area that I want to address is business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
right. So, yeah. So now, what kind of team do you require as an artist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know, say I was a legend back in the days or whatever case may be, and now you're dealing in a new millennium. All right. You don't have to deal with records being pressed and all kind of other things that go about. So, you know, the business change. So what kind of team do you hire? Do you need the super high price lawyer? Do you need, 3 PRs? record pools, you know, behind you, whatever. So this is kind of weighing what kind of business structure you need to move forward. All right. Again, these are questions that every artist should ask themselves, but I'm really focusing on veterans and legends who are stuck in the business of the 90s. Okay. The times of all the agreements that they've always felt in their mind, whether stump in their road or whatever case may be, you're now coming back in the game, you know, or refreshing yourself. What kind of team do you need around you? Is it really worth for you to pay for a lawyer to go get you a deal or to make you more relevant? Or can you do it from a paralegal perspective and just get proper agreements? Because you should want to be signed. You should want to be, you know, I'm coming out of the ballpark around my way and stepping into the arena where people can see me. You should want to be, you know, your music should be worth that. You understand me? It's, you know, otherwise you just throwing it at iTunes to see if it sticks on the wall. There's a million motherfuckers doing that every day. But everybody doesn't have that trust of a brand getting behind you. You want that, you know, because, you know, you say independent, but you still reach for sponsors. You still reach for, you know, all these other things. The label is a top sponsor. Even if they're writing you a check or not, your agreement is putting you in a position to say, this artist is worthy of being in our catalog and worth the conversation. Let me call 10 magazines to let them know this person is worthy of being interviewed. You know what I'm saying? So again, the question is, what kind of team are you assembling? And do you deserve the kind of, you know, you got to get out of that star in your head shit and say, yo, my shit is humble. I'm just really trying to sell 10,000 records. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have your goal in mind. And then, you know, I only need one PR that covers my region. Let me be popular in my region instead of doing a national PR that's costing me $1,000 a month, $500 a month or whatever. And you're not worth the service that's being given to you. Okay? So that's one of the questions in the business section.
Real quick.
And then,
hold on for us.
yes, sir.
Let's go back to that about that fan base thing. So, to add on to that, I think it's very important that if you're not even hot in your own hood, then you gotta maybe go back to the drawing board first. Like, I mean, like I talk to cats like that have. You know, one problem I've seen with cats is too is that they become comfortable because they're hot in their own hood, and they're also. I have some really good friends that are super nice, and they're stuck on their local scene because they run it, big fish, small pond type thing. Just like, yo, go get that. But so that's the thing. If you're not nice in your own hood, and you made a good point about, you know, that fan base. Yeah, I tell cats all the time. You only need a few people to fuck with you heavy. You don't need a lot of people. Like, I know cats that like, yo, they go to a man, big up to my man M. Dot. He goes to Sweden, and he's like, fam, I'll hold it down out there. They hold me down. Elder Sensei's like, he's like, I'm out in Jersey. I mean, out in Europe. He's like, yeah. And fans got all of my shit, mixtapes, everything from your side, everything. So he's like, exactly. You know, my man, big up this kid Twistello. Buffalo, New York, during this whole pandemic, he's been doing shows out west where the shit's like light, and the pandemic mass shit, and he's been the whole pandemic. He had a whole tour like 4 months during the middle of the shit last year, you know. So correct, and they hold him down, so he knows where hit. So I was gonna say, like, I tell cats, yo, just if you get a small number of group of people that fuck with you heavy, they'll hold you down.
Yeah, control your region. You know what I'm saying? And if your fan base is loyal, you know what I'm saying? If you a shepherd, man, it's easier to lead your support system, you know, in a small situation. You got thousands and thousands of people. Now you know it's time to hire different people to help you, you know, handle your people, making sure they get, you know, a notice of what you're doing, making sure they're getting the right food and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's something to where you grow to building those types of teams where you get the expensive lawyer and this and that, because now there's something to protect. you just rapping on a beat. You got to go ahead and do the legwork, like you said. Go to Europe, find who fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? And now when you got that times 10, you say, yo, man, this is getting too deep for me to handle. I need somebody to help me handle internet. I need somebody to help me do woo, woo, woo. So this is part of assembling your team. All right. Now, the next question would be, do you have the budget or collateral to pay for a solid team to back you? All right. Because you can't depend on, you know, YouTube will send me a check and I'll break it down. Woo, wah, woo, wah. It ain't that.
Right.
Okay. You know, you got to stack some chips when you go to start a project to say, I can hold my team down at these rates for the next 3 months, which is enough to me to make an impression in 2 months to see if it's even worth doing this anymore. You got to be honest to yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And if you're not willing to say, yo, I'm not going to buy an ounce of herb every week. I'm going to take a fast 2 or 3 months, save them chips. I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to go splurge on Amazon getting clothes and games or whatever it is, and I'm going to stack them chips. And now that pays for my local PR or for me to buy myself onto a show that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to buy your spot, you know what I'm saying, to make an impression. So the next time you go to that same spot, you're invited for free or you're invited for pay. It's levels to this shit. Okay?
Very important.
And again, yeah, very important, because once you grab that small audience and you can expand that, now you're saying, okay, phase 2, let me hire this person. Let me hire this person. I need another person in my squad, somebody to help me bring equipment, somebody to drive the van. Now we got other states that want to get in. You build gradually. I think people are so thinking that it's plug and play, like, yo, I'm popular. I sang in the shower this morning. I got 1 million hits going viral. And I need Cardi B's PR person, and I need the Migos manager to do whatever. You're fooling yourself. You're starring your own head. You understand me? Because that's not, you know, that virtual kickback is not people that would go and purchase your product necessarily. You know, they can be weird as hell, say, oh, that person's cute or something, and, you know, whatever their reason on their head, and just hit the button. They might hit it on accident. It doesn't mean they spend $5, $10 to buy your project on whatever you put in your stream. So, you know, you got to be rugged enough, you know, to know if you're a one-man army to start, when your thing starts to expand, who do you trust to handle your business, your financials? Who do you trust creatively to be in the lab with you that's not going to bite your shit and run up the way and put it out? You know what I'm saying? Your music is like your child. You know, you don't let anybody just babysit your kid.
Right.
You feel me? So, you know, that business, so in that business area, those are the questions that a person should be asking themselves. Yep. You know, who do you trust? What kind of team do I deserve? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a budget, or is your project collateral enough to say, okay, I'm not getting paid, but I'll do merchandise for you, because it seems that people want to buy stuff for you. So I'll be the merch man. So somebody may suggest to come on your team. You know what I'm saying? So that's collateral. Like, I don't have a platinum seller, but I got people who feel me, and they may want to spend money. Somebody in your camp, in your immediate, instead of rolling the blunt, just passing it back and forth, and they say, yo, man, let me be your merch man. I want to put some chips up and see if we can make your brand into something. I'm willing to take that sacrifice if you can't pay me cash in my hand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Become valuable.
Right. Yo, so one thing you keep touching on, even in this section right here, is about the being a star in your head. And you mentioned this, I'm going to add on to it. This Instagram all these social media got people fucked up with the likes and shit. Because you could, just because you spit something nice in your fucking whip over Shook One's beat, I'm sorry, like that's a start. Like, okay, like, but if it pops off or somebody reposts it or whatever and it starts getting a lot of love, it happens. Yeah, okay, you're doing something, but like, yo, there's cats I've seen all on the IG I'm like, yo, when you putting out a joint, like when you gonna put out an actual album, like you just in the whip, like that's what it is, and it's like, but people think that that's what it means to be, you know, successful now. Like just that, yeah, maybe there's a part of that to it, I guess, but like, let's say, I mean, let's look at it for what it is. There's a small piece to that, but that's not it. Like if you're still doing third shift at Walmart with the fucking pallet jack, but you got like 100,000 followers on Instagram because you spitting in your whip and you're not making no money off of that, then you're doing something wrong.
Correct. And they also let you know where the artist is coming from. They really just want butt rubs instead of enhancing the craft.
Of course.
That was the one thing that hip hop was bent on. It was based on everybody enhancing the craft. Oh, that dude had people chopping. This person had people changing their cadence. This person had people dancing more. You know what I'm saying? There were certain artists that didn't have to be lyrically nice, but they can control a crowd.
Right.
You add an element. So when the person is building a card and in your region, you got champions, a person can come and pick and say, yo, you the best crowd control. I need you to come open the show and get the crowd right. So you don't have tiers of importance. You have tiers of contribution. That's how hip hop should be. You know what I'm saying? When you go to Buster, what kind of energy you're going to give you. Everybody's going to be sweating and ready for the next act. You feel what I'm saying? So you position artists like that. You know what I'm saying? So a person has to say to themselves, like, what kind of artist am I? Am I the person to live it up and get everybody ready? I'm going to write those kind of songs. I'm going to write those kind of anthems. Now you got theme to your project when you honestly face yourself. If you can't, chop with the best of them, at least you can contribute the show and say, invite me. You know what I'm saying? You look at OT Genesis, the dude who was making those catchy hooks and whatnot. He's not a Busta Rhyme lyrically or whatever case may be, but he drops a song that everybody would be able to sing in the spot. So when you having your big summer jam, you're going to invite him to come. He's going to get a check. And he don't have to be the nicest in the realm. So people got to get out of the ego of themselves and say, as long as I get invited to the party, I'm going to always continue to improve my craft. But they accept their lane and what they contribute. That's what these questions are addressing, for people to look in the mirror at themselves and say, am I worthy of being, assembling a team around myself? Is it worth me taking out of my bank and my hustle or my job or whatever it is? You can be the mailman and you pay your bills and say, yo, I got, a couple hundred, a couple thousand aside I want to put together on my project. You look in the mirror and you ask yourself these questions and you say, damn, am I tripping? Right. I'm not an artist on that caliber. You know what I'm saying? You check yourself before you put that bread out, because the people you hiring are not going to tell you the truth. Right. They just going to take the check. Real talk. They're not going to tell you the truth 9 times out of 10, bro. They're just going to say, yo, man, thank you. Yo, man, that should sound good, man. You should do more.
That's why you got cats walking around, like co-signing bullshit, because there's a lot of, and listen, the co-signs from the OGs let you know what, if cats are really about it, like about this culture and that, because when I see, like, that's how like, it's like that's a big part of it right there too.
Yes, indeed. All right, so
go ahead.
So I just want, these, again, I just shorten these areas where people can just, keep it simple and shit, nothing overly elaborate or whatever.
Right.
But production is the next area.
Okay.
All right. What is your role in production of a project? All right. So, and the reason I ask this question is because a lot of artists get in the lab and feel like they snapping fingers and telling people what to do. You telling the engineer what to do. You telling this person, that person. As an artist, when I came up, there were several elements I controlled, from DJing, studying records and whatnot, just doing different things to where, I can come up with a hook to contribute, even if it was my song or not. So as in a production situation, people want to know What's your role? Are you the DJ just to come in on scratch, or can I count on you to bring some suggestions for hooks? You know, with your knowledge of records, or you just playing records. So if you just a scratch dude, I'm gonna tell you will come the last hour of the session. I'm not gonna have you in the creative wheel. Okay, so you know, if you're the captain of the ship as the head artist, you gotta say, I gotta know how to scratch. I gotta know how to make beats. I gotta know how to do whatever. And if you can't, now you know what to put around you. Okay, I need, you know, because you gotta be a producer as well as an artist. You can't be shot calling in the lab and you don't have that kind of respect. Okay, which is really part of the next question. You know, in the production lab, do you have the respect of your team to head a project? Okay, if you going in there, yo, I'm the greatest in the world, and your team is like, nigga, please, you know, in their mind, you know, you Captain Kirk, and you say, hey, Spock, go down to the engine room and go do whatever, and that nigga say, nah, in a minute. I'll get to it when I can. You know what I'm saying? If your team that you taking care of with your collateral or your paper is not respectful of you, how are you going to expect people to purchase your product when that shit is released? You know, if you can't, you know, you can't control, you know, your production space, how do you expect to influence people to say, yo, man, this dude looks like and feels like something that I should respect? Okay? So that's important.
You're talking about, like, here's the thing that keeps coming up in everything that you're saying. You're talking about people having, again, introspection, self-awareness, humility, because, yeah, like, if you ain't, again, if you're not the nicest in the crew, and you're talking like you're the nicest in the crew, if you're not even holding down your own hood, and you're trying to, like, fucking do some global promotion, like, slow your fucking roll. Like, and it's hilarious that you say that, because it's like, that's that arrogance that's in hip hop that's, you know, like, you gotta know, you gotta be kind of not at peace with yourself. You gotta really know what's going on. Be self-aware. Like, honest, like you said, you keep saying being honest with yourself. You say it the whole time, not being a star in your head, right? Like, the star in your head, and that's all that shit comes out. Like just be humble and show and prove. If you're nice, you're nice, and that shit's gonna
correct.
And like you just move, you know. Your vocals, all that shit will come out if you're really as good as you say you are. You know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah, and if your team has an honest energy about them when you're in the lab, you're gonna bust the best shit you ever bust in your life.
Right.
All right. You know, your team can really be support for your situation, and not, you know, just yes men, or, you know, or the wrong kind of group. You want the right kind of groupie, which is support for your situation.
Right.
Like, yo, I can't wait for this nigga to get up in the lab right now. He's getting ready to bust some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a different attitude than, yo, man, I'm right here. I'm in the back. If you need a soda or something, you need some water, I'm here for you. That's some corny shit. You know, the studio runner can go get me some water and the soda, dog, and the sandwich or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I need that. Yo, the nicest dude in my hood right now is in the lab, and I'm honored to be here. Yo, dog, let's go. You know, that's a different energy. If you don't have that respect as the captain of your situation, you should rethink what you're doing. All right? And now if you say, fuck everything that I'm talking about, and you choose to go in the lab solo, okay, by yourself, one-man army, do you respect yourself enough to meet deadlines? Okay? Do you respect yourself enough to have completion goals? So you can say to yourself, yo, this project is going to be done on August 19th, and you bullshitting yourself every time, yo, it's really on me, so I'm just going to push it down. I'm just going to push it down. You got to respect yourself enough to meet your deadlines and keep your fan base fed. Okay? And if you don't have that, then you need to go, you need to become worthy enough to have someone to help you with your calendar. Again, if your worth is not deep, no one's going to be calling you like your mom and say, hey, today is that interview. Today is whatever. Again, if you don't have that respect, that's not going to go down. So this area is covering production and the internal of production, not tweaking knobs and all of that shit. You got to set up the arena of who's in that lab. You know what I'm saying? Everybody from the engineer on should be inspired to work on your shit. Your shit should have value enough for people to spend their motherfucking time to be putting shit around you. From the dudes that are giving you tracks, you can tell by the caliber of how cats give you tracks. You giving me something that, you just farted out, or you giving me something that you compose. All right? The quality of your music also matches your respect.
Right.
Okay? A cat can hand you a track with a bunch of samples and give you a bill rather than, yo, I composed this and took my time that there's no sampling and it's still humping the way that you need it to go down. That's respect.
Right.
Okay.
It's like you want like a 40-ounce Colt 45 beat, or do you want like a craft beer, 10% IPA beat? Like, you know what I mean? Did I actually give a fuck about, like, or do you want that bottom of the barrel shit? You know what I mean?
Bottom of the barrel bullshit. So that's right.
No, that's important. It's about, the external setup will be fucked up if the internal setup isn't right. And that's, again,
that's correct.
And the thing it keeps going back to is like self-awareness, introspection, humility, honesty about this shit. Like, yo, maybe I'm not that nice yet. You know what I mean? Like, and, like you gotta, but again, you gotta have the right people around you sometimes too. Well, and hopefully you're going to have some people that's not going to be like, yo, that shit is fire, fam. But,
Yeah, because nobody's going to tell you nowadays. Look, back in the days when these cats were getting deals, these were like business loans. Like how you would go to a bank and say, yo, I'm worth 50 grand right now. Okay? Now you coming from the hood, you don't know what the fuck you worth. Ain't nobody at them block parties and shit that you was doing was paying for anything. There was no CD press, niggas not gonna buy a cassette from you like, here's my cassette, dog. They're not gonna do that.
Right.
Okay, so these things were loans. So you gotta walk up into a business structure and say, I'm worth 100 grand right now for you to put up to be a partner with my publishing and my shit until I get to a place where I don't need this anymore and I want to leave you with some bread. So they got to go pull out a loan off of your bullshit. That's how good your manager had to be. Okay? Pull out 75 racks for us, and you can't go blow it on no dumb shit. Your shit got to be like how we saying on this paper. Do I have the right team? The engineers down? I got the right people in the lab pumping this motherfucker up. We getting the best beats. You got to pay for all this shit.
Right.
So you got to have value. So nowadays, you can just go cut something from the YouTube, go rhyme, and get social acclaim. But again, that's not business.
That's not
okay. That's not business.
That's why the managers back in the day, like the famous managers from like the A&Rs and stuff it's a different game from the 80s and 90s. They were critical in this shit. The Steve Lobos, the fucking, there's people that were like, that was important because, like you said, it was basically a loan. And cats that went and blew their money on some bullshit,
That's right.
So,
and you can't just bounce to another label with the bar tab not paid. So a lot of times, cats didn't get to do their second albums and get out because these labels are talking. Yo, that dude owes me $75,000. We only sold 25 records. We were projected to sell 100,000. Cats are not even trying to predict you to go gold and sell 500,000. They may say this will sell about a good 100,000 with our marketing team and the way that they have an impact in their neighborhood. It seems that they have a strong following because, again, internet wasn't around. So there was no way to measure it like, let me just click on their Instagram or let me just click on their Facebook. These were projections, okay? So cats got beyond themselves, thinking like, you know, like 200,000 for my album and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yo, nigga, you ain't worth that.
Nah. Yeah.
You ain't worth
just
that.
Because you got it. Just because you got it doesn't. They gave it to you, but that doesn't mean they fucked up too. So it's what you still owe at the end of the day. Like,
correct. Somebody got to answer for that bread.
Right. Whether they fucked up or not. Yeah. Whether they fucked up or not, you still owe.
Correct. Because they'll just bankrupt the situation. You got 2 or 3 of them kind of shit. You just bankrupt the company, get a new name, and continue flowing. And they're in debt, and you're safe. 2 or 3 people might get fired. But the brand doesn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? The Lakers have a bad season. You make a couple trades, but the Lakers remain the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Get a new office, change the name, change the email or whatever. You know what I mean?
Real shit.
Flip it back. Yeah, it wasn't even no email. So it was if they had fax machines. You can have an office like anywhere. I mean, so like whatever they did. That was, and you still owe. Bottom line, you
still owe. So weigh these things when you're weighing your production. Make sure you're in your lane properly, man, and really balance your room.
Right.
Now, the next area we're gonna build on is image. Okay. Now, do you have the discipline to reinvent yourself? Okay. Now that's a big thing. All right, because cats come out and feel like I'm just gonna look like I am on the app and do whatever.
Right.
And that's not real. You understand? When you go to church, there's a way that you dress. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're going to pray to your God and you know and participate, you go there on your Sunday best. Same thing with entertainment. All right? Your magnetism is important. It's part of the marketing. So you have to be, if you were the best MC around the way, as soon as you get touched with that first, I'm getting a deal, I'm getting, you know, I'm going a little higher than I was, your image, you have to reinvent yourself. Now, there's a thin line to that because it doesn't mean that you play yourself. You know, like, you know, if you're a female and you were, you know, well-dressed or whatever case may be, it doesn't mean you start peeling shit off. Okay? That's cheating. You're now doing Playboy, light porn. You're not doing the craft. Okay? You have to say, what's the best way that I need to look for someone to say, man, this is dope. I wonder what's inside. I wonder what's coming off this, you know, off on their expression. Are you willing to reinvent yourself to match your vision? Okay? Because when you have this image of you performing and things at this level, you have to pull it out of your head into reality. There's a look with that. There's now a physical manifestation of things. So you got to say, you know what? I want to dress raw, or I want to dress sharp, or whatever it is. You got to decide that and put that down. Now, most cats just skip that.
Right.
Because, you know, when you see cats now on TV or video, it's just like I take my shirt off and walk in front of an old abandoned warehouse. Like I'm in the depths of the hood or whatever case may be. You know, that's some other shit. But we're talking about people who are embracing this craft. Okay? When Kane and them were getting down, you know why I fuck with Kane heavy, bro? Because when them cats showed up, they would have the best velour suits in the fucking game. Gucci shit, you know, the freshest kicks, you know, all that shit. And it was part of the magnetism. Like, yo, when you get in the game, you got to increase your apparel. That's why cats wear the ropes and the whole shit and whatnot. You kind of increase your game. But outside of just the bling bling of it, building your body, you know what I'm saying? Looking different, looking fresher, looking like I'm happy in what I'm doing. Do you have that discipline to do that and keep it consistent? It's a very important thing that people just skip over. The world's not on your dick. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of pull back and be like, let me be righteous enough to give the audience the best of me. You know what I'm saying? When I'm going to see my girl the way I dress, I want to get dressed like that when I'm showing up. because I respect their presence that much. You got to respect your audience as well and look your best, you know. So in that image department, I put that. And then the second thing is, do you have the budget to do that? Okay. Clothing costs money. All right. And when you dress yourself, you have to uniform your team. You can't be sharp and your hype man be on bum shit. All right. You can't be sharp and your DJ be on some bullshit. Okay. So when you take care of yourself, if you're not a one-man army, you got to say, yo, I got to get a shirt and a half for him. I got to get a shirt and a half for that fool. I got to have my fucking engineers with my logo on their chest. You know, you got to have your shit uniform. That does make a difference, bro. That does make a difference. When you come in as a unified force, it's a different beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you got to be, like you said, you got to be on point, though. You can't come in.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's like the Charlie Brown click. Everybody got their steez, and then here come Pigpen with his cloud of dust at the end of the shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like the bum nigga always stands out. So it's like you can't. And it's like if somebody's looking super dope, and then everybody else on some like dusty shit, like yeah, it's not. That's just not gonna work. But let's go back for a second, man, to like the whole image thing, because it's like it's really about being yourself, because people aren't stupid, and and people know, you know, shit, you know, if you were a probation officer or this or that and all, people find out shit. Just be who you are, man. Like to me, it's like, you're good enough. Like everybody, right. I mean, let's start from like we're all neutral. Okay, so you're good enough, man. Like, let's see who you really are. Like, I want to see you. I like any MC out there. Like I'd like to see who the real 6ix9ine is as a rapper. Like, who is he really? Like
right.
or like right. Cardi B or whatever. Like, if you really tried to write some shit and be about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
correct.
So it's in the end, it's like, man, like who. Just be yourself. Isn't that good enough? Like, I'm me, man. Like when I was rhyming a little bit, it was like, that's what I got. Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
But I'm me. It's like, I think it's important that it's hard, because this whole shit is about, you know, image and stuff, and especially now it's about who you look alike, you know, who you look right. like, rather than, you know, trying to be different. But it's like, man, let's tell cats, just be who you really are. That should be good enough for everybody. And if it's
be who you are,
and if it's not fun,
and exactly, and know your level. You know what I'm saying? If you know how it is to dress down when you at the crib, all right. Now, when you go out to perform in front of folks, you know what the next tier up is in your shit. Present yourself at that tier. You don't have to go look at somebody else's shit and say, yo, I gotta get gold braids like Tekashi, and I gotta wear shoes like homegirl. You can't bite off other people's shit for your shit. You gotta find out what's my best colors when I take photos. Green looks good on me. Orange looks good on me. Let me get the orange polo instead of the gray one, just dusty with the smoke holes in it that I wear around the motherfucking way.
Right.
Okay? Because people will take what you're doing as a gimmick. All right? They'll make you like an actor and be like, well, I like him because he just wears what's around the way. But they're propping that to say, I want you to feel like you in my hood in my project. So I'm gonna go borrow the homeboy's coat for the, you know, for the photo shoot and all of that. You know good and well when them niggas come on stage, bro, it's gonna be blinged out. It's gonna be, you know, Gucci down and the whole shit. Don't get fooled by the image of the project versus the lifestyle. You gotta start living the lifestyle and showing people that I'm living what I love. And I reflect it. I don't have to go overboard, put 50 chains on, a diamond in the middle of my head, and this and that to show the success. You know, this is more about looking good, because we go into part of the image, mental health. Okay? If you cracking at the seams, you're gonna look crazy. You're gonna look crazy.
First of all, you said Dusty with the smoke holes. I just had to go back to that. Yo, Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
The real shit.
Because that was, I pictured that shit in my head. I think everybody pictured that vision in their head, Dusty with the smoke hose. But yo, yeah, you can't be like fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in this shit, man.
You can't, my lord. You can't. Part of the image is mental health. If you don't have eldership in your camp and you have to professionally get it, again, that's a budget. Okay? Because this is now, when you get into the mechanics of the game, now I'm dealing with veterans and legends in this section as well, because a lot of cats came out of there with trauma. You see a lot of these cats coming now, you know, I was traumatized, I was this, I was that. You may have a lot of shit on your head. You might have professional depression. Okay? You might have felt like, damn, I had 200,000 in my hand and it's gone. And all I got is memories and pictures of my homeboys drinking and smoking in the lab and a couple of shows under my belt, and 200,000 was gone. You could go through a mental lapse with that kind of shit, especially if you've done that shit several fucking times to have multiple albums. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money blown, even though you weren't handling it in cash, you know, but if you did your project efficiently, you can have a check written to you at the end of the day from that loan that you took from that brand. Okay?
Right.
So mental health is deep, because if you notice now, a lot of artists that are out right now have mental problems, bro. They're walking around, don't even know when they're going to be smoked for tea time news. You know, cats will just bust you, you know, I'll make you famous type of shit. So you walk around with that nervousness all the fucking time. You got to have that mental check at all times. And then with physical health, you can't sit in these laboratories all day drinking and smoking and don't exercise and don't check your internal health. You can't do that. So these are things that you check in your image. It's not just like, hey, I'm pretty for the camera. No, I'm good in and out. You know what I'm saying? You see how artists, you know, artists who are veteran and legend who reinvent themselves and get that internal thing going on, and the outside is looking good, and you say, damn, they don't crack. That makes you want to get involved with, like, let me go see their recipe. Let me go check on they social site and see if they selling the product that I can do to get my shit right and get whatever. It magnetizes you to fuck with that individual.
Facts.
All right?
Facts.
So checking the physical. And then do you have the spiritual fortitude for all the likes and dislikes? Okay? You got to have a strong spirit to be in this game, because everybody's not going to fuck with you. Okay? So you got to say, is my spirit strong enough to where if somebody says something nasty to me on the Instagram and I got a studio session, am I going to be in the session like, oh my God, somebody doesn't like me. Oh my God, that's going to fuck your music up. Okay? You got to have your spirit strong as fuck, because it'll, again, show on your image. It'll show on your face. It'll show on your body. It's a stress. So you got to have that hardcore, that turtle shell, quote unquote, to say, I can handle the hecklers. My shit is, when I reach to my goal, I'll have more love than hate. Okay? It's never going to be a perfect 100%. Okay? So they got to keep that in their mind as part of their image, you know? And then also emotionally, do you have the sacrifice power to be away from your family and your norm? Okay? When, you know, it was touring back then. I don't know what it will become with this COVID situation. Okay? Because touring is less now. If it wasn't this pandemic that's happening right now, then there would be 50 shows going on. Okay? So a lot of those cats have to sacrifice time. You're not allowed, you know, on a level to drag your family town to town in a tour bus with the entire entourage and so on. So that's sacrifice. So anybody jumping in the game, you have to have that emotional hold down, because you'll be homesick, breaking down every day. You know what I'm saying? And the phone is not enough, bro. I don't care who you are. I don't give a fuck how much FaceTime and whatever the fuck may be. Being close to your loved ones is a different energy on a human level. You know, and without that, you out on the road with people that you can't trust, can trust, back and forth. It's a roller coaster game. It's not family love. All right? So part of that image is getting that emotional standpoint together as well, you know?
Word. So I want to go back to the physical, and I'm going to go back to the mental. And as far as the physical part, I just really wanted to add on about, like, too many of our MCs, producers, whatever, people in this game are dying before age 50. Like, that's it's fucked up. It's we have if we did some numbers, I would be willing to bet that, like, the numbers are higher within, like, the hip hop community of, like, death before 60.
Correct.
And so the fucked up touring, you know what I'm saying? The weed, the drinking, the drugs, just keep it 100. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of, like, that shit's affected a lot of people, and a lot of people are gone because of that. Unhealthy eating, you're just eating bullshit food, you know what I'm saying? And you're doing sleep patterns fucked up. Sleep is super important. I know everyone's like grind. Sleep is very important. It rejuvenates. It's rest. That's the fuel. So if we don't get, and I'm speaking from experience, like, so you're out to, like, most of the hip hop business is done like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, blunts, 40s, Henny. Like, I've done most shit, like the most creative shit with people at like 3 in the morning. That's not good, man. Like, on the body to do that consistently all the time for like 10, 15, 20 years, to be out for 36 hours, like, you know, like, doing all that shit, man.
And when you're touring, there's no way in the world that you can obey that regimen. If you just got off stage at 11:30 at night and feel this creative juice hitting you at 3 in the morning, now mind you, you done been up since performing the whole entire show itself from 8 o'clock. You probably get on, you know, if you headline and you get on 11:30, then you're gonna be up after party, chilling, all of that, and then you got to get up and get bus time at 8 o'clock. Okay, and sleeping on a tour bus is not like sleeping in your bed. This is a moving vehicle, vibrating and humping and going through all kind of shit. So you really just half-ass napping.
You're not.
All right, and then you got interviews. Correct. Then you got interviews when you get to whatever your destination is. You got interviews to do. So you can't even go to sleep. You got to keep your mind up. So mind you, we just went through a whole 12-hour span, and then you up for the rest of the day, and you forgot that you didn't sleep. Okay, and you may have
or eat
properly. Correct, because that's right. Because as much as medicine as herb is, it's not feeding you.
And you grab a couple, you grab a couple of slices of pizza at like 3 in the morning somewhere. And a soda,
which is unhealthy as fuck.
Unhealthy as
you know what I'm saying?
Again and again and again and again and again.
Exactly.
Again.
You're not living off no cheese and sauce to give you energy back and to reboot you, especially not getting no fucking rest.
Right.
Which is really the true reboot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So important in that physical realm.
Right.
As far as the image is concerned, because you imagine you're looking like shit on the 3rd day.
Right.
If you're running like that.
Right.
And pictures is cracking, and, you know, people saying, "Oh my God, he looks like a crackhead who's bags under his eyes." You know how stupid people get.
Right.
They looking at everything, dog.